Hey guys, today I have a mix breakdown for the track called Stoney from Sanito. I got quite a few requests to do a mix breakdown for this one, so here it is. You will see everything that I did, vocal processing, sends, everything that I have in the session, the routing. I hope that you enjoy it. Let's get right into it.
Alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick ist glasklar. Hier vorne ist es Lonely Race auf der Fahrbahn.
Stoney mix breakdown. I will show you everything that I have in the session. I will show you all the processing that I've done on the vocals, the lead vocals, the hooks, the doubles, the ad-libs, sends, everything. The track sounds like this.
Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt. Doch es ist Money und man meint, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen Marathon, denn ich weiß, wo ich hin will. Keine Liebe mehr in dieser Welt, ich seh nur Business. Ich will's nie wieder tun, doch mach es wieder und ich drücke auf Repeat. Ja, ich hab viel zu tun. Worke so hart, dass ich mir die Checks verdien. Alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick ist glasklar. Hier vorne ist es laut.
Just like that. Let's start with the routing. So for this session I'm using my mixing template. You can get this right now. I'm sending most of the vocals to the 4 vocal buses that I have in most of my sessions: the verse bus, hook bus, ad-lib bus, and special vox bus. I also added a couple of other buses just to create some interesting and different effects. Let's bypass all the processing, everything that I've done on the vocals, the vocal bus also, just like that. So now we have everything clean and dry.
Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt. Doch es ist Money und man meint, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen Marathon, denn ich weiß, wo ich hin will. Keine Liebe mehr in dieser Welt, ich seh nur Business. Ich will's nie wieder tun, doch mach es wieder und ich drücke auf Repeat. Ja, ich hab viel zu tun. Worke so hart, dass ich mir die Checks verdien. Alles.
Let's start with the main vocals. So we have a main here, and a hook main. Verse 1, verse 2, and the hook. All those tracks are going out to the verse bus where I have most of the processing. As an insert, I have our vox, and I will show you what that does in a second.
Das ist da, ja, I don't
So this is what I have for the RVox.
give a f. Rest in peace an alle, die mal da waren. Ich will viel sehen, baby.
Just a touch of compression, bringing the vocals a bit more up front. Let's go through the sends. A hall reverb. I have the processing, the corrective stuff done before hitting the reverb. 7th heaven with spaces too long, vox space. It sounds like this.
Das ist da, ja, I don't give a f.
Pretty airy, pretty long.
Peace an alle, die mal da waren. Ich will viel.
Then we have a slap delay. Sounds like this in the mix. It's really low.
Viel sehen, baby, ich bin stark. Bleib auf meiner Bahn, ja. Baby, ich muss.
So just to increase the stereo width of the vocals. Then we have a rap play. This one is sync to the tempo. I don't know why, but most of the time I'm using this distorted style on Echo Boy.
Weg, ich hab's eilig. Das mit uns ist einfach schlecht.
And I'm using the offset, so we have a small difference between the left and the right channel, creating that stereo delay. Then we have the late throw. This is automated on some words.
Rest in peace, da waren. Ich will viel sehen, baby, ich bin startklar. Kein Fake, bleib auf meiner Bahn, ja.
Same thing goes out throughout the song. Right here, automated that late throw. That's it for the sends on the main vocal. On verse 2, I also introduced this reverb. Let's see if I have it automated. Yeah, just on the intro part of the second verse.
Ja, die Vision ist klar, baby, oh.
Really big, really wide.
Oh, und was ich hier mache, ist vielleicht nicht so gesund.
And as you can see, it's made out of 2 different reverbs. I like doing this sometimes. I have this non-linear that sounds like this.
Baby, oh, und was ich hier mache, ist vielleicht nicht so gesund. Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich.
And I'm adding concert hall really big the default preset at 50% wet, just to make it really airy.
Die Vision ist klar, Baby, oh. Und was ich hier mache, ist vielleicht nicht so gesund.
And you can see that I have automated that reverb when the faster pace, the rapping starts. I have a much drier, a more inner face vocal. And in context, this transition sounds like this.
Vision ist klar, Baby, oh. Und was ich hier mache, ist vielleicht nicht so gesund. Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen, yeah.
Just like that, you can make a transition from something mellow to something more in your face, more aggressive. And this was the purpose with this entire track. The vocals are not mixed perfectly. They sound quite harsh. They sound really in your face. That was my vision for the song. I think, let's see for the hook if I have any different sends. But I think I have the same ones with this ping pong as an extra.
Alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick ist glasklar. Hier vorne ist es Lonely Racer auf der
Something to create more space. This is everything when it comes to sends. I will show the other sends on the other tracks when we get there. Now let's break down the processing. The processing done here. Pro Q3 Corrective.
Big Check, laufe die wo ich hin will. Keine Liebe mehr in dieser Welt, ich seh nur Business. Ich will's nie wieder
C4.
tun, doch mach es wieder und ich drücke auf Repeat. Und ich record.
I am using the V76 from Arturia. I like the high pass. It sounds really good when you need thin vocals and it adds a bit of character.
Gerade vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt. Doch es ist Money on my mind, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen Marathon, denn ich weiß, wo ich
As you can see, it really cleans out the low end.
hin will. Keine Liebe mehr in dieser Welt, ich seh nur Business. Ich will's nie
Really nice. Pro DS, DSing.
wieder tun, doch mach es wieder. Ich drücke auf
Fat 76.
Repeat. Und ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt. Doch es ist Money on my mind, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen Marathon, denn ich
Tube Tech.
weiß, wo ich hin will. Keine Liebe mehr in dieser Welt, ich seh nur Business. Ich will's nie wieder tun, doch mach es wieder und ich drücke auf Repeat.
Not doing that much with the Tube Tech. Another Pro Q3. Dipping some nasty frequencies.
Ich sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt. Money on my
CLA vocals. Adding some spank. Adding some top end. Removing some sub. Adding some stereo.
mind, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen Marathon, denn ich weiß, wo ich hin will. Keine Liebe mehr in dieser Welt, ich seh nur
Difference between the vocals with and without CLA vocals is really subtle. That's something that I wanted to keep really low because it has a certain character that I don't like that much. If you push it really hard, it's really noticeable.
Business. Ich will's nie wieder tun, doch mach es wieder.
Last in the chain, I'm using RX Breath Control because we have some big breaths in some places, and this is a plugin that does a really nice job if you don't have the time to manually adjust every gain on every single breath.
Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt. Doch es ist Money on my mind, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen Marathon, denn ich weiß, wo ich hin will. Keine Liebe mehr in dieser Welt, ich seh nur Business. Ich will's nie wieder tun, doch mach es wieder und ich drücke auf Repeat. Und
I'm not removing the breath entirely. You can do something like this, but it doesn't sound natural. I like to avoid that. I just tuck them a bit more under the vocals. And this is the processing done on the lead vocals. All the lead vocals from the session go to this verse bus. Let's move to the hook.
alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick ist glasklar. Hier vorne ist Lonely Racer auf der Fahrbahn. Sinne sind betäubelt, so viel in meinem Glas war. Ich komme an die Spitze und ich seh sie anders. Alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick ist glasklar. Hier vorne ist Lonely Racer auf der Fahrbahn.
So I've routed quite a few vocal tracks from the session. I'm using first in the chain a DSR C4 with the same preset. I think I'm hitting it a bit harder than the lead vocal. Yeah, much harder. A 2A and another EQ. I'm sending all the hook vocals. Hook is a term that I'm using for the bass. It's not just the hook vocals. More vocals from the session are going to this bass. And I'm using this chord space medieval for the reverb. Now let's move to the ad-libs. So these are the ad-libs tracks in the session. Just a few ad-libs. But we have this really important one on the second verse. Let's see the processing, CLA vocals. Really aggressive on CLA vocals this time. Filtering the low end, shaper box to create some movement from left to right. Then we have the special vox, and with the special vox we have other doubles.
Alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick ist glasklar. Hier vorne ist es Lonely Racer auf der Fahrbahn. Sinne sind betäubelt, so viel in meinem Glas war.
And a whole reverb. This is really gentle, really subtle processing. We also have the other two bosses that are unnamed. And we have the intro.
Alles viel zu Stoney. Alles viel zu Stoney.
For the intro, we have this bass, and it sounds like this.
Alles viel zu Stoney.
I wanted to create a special moment right in the intro, and this is how I did it. Trash 2, I'm using some saturation, supermassive, and Simplon to create a phone type effect. On the other one, the high pitched vocals, degrader, pushing it really hard. So breaking the vocals down as much as possible. I'm using haze 2 to create some stereo spread. And filtering the low end and the top end. I didn't want the vocals to be really harsh. And as you can see, those two bosses are going to the special box bus for the processing that I have here. And that's it when it comes to processing on the vocals. I still have the processing that I did on this ad-lib. I have a video just on that. You can check that out. I will have a card somewhere around here. Now let's move to the vocal bus processing. First in the chain, I have a suit 2.
Alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick ist glasklar. Hier vorne ist es Lonely Racer auf der Fahrbahn. Sinne sind betäubelt, so viel in meinem Glas.
Sometimes I like to control the low end of a vocal with suit 2. That's why I have this strange curve right here. And also I'm affecting the harshness of the vocal.
Ich komme an die Spitze und ich sehe sie anders. Alles
but I'm digging much more into the low end. Using it in parallel, I'm not using the 100% wet. Pro Q3, I have some cuts here.
Alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick klar. Hier vorne ist es auf der Fahrbahn. Sind betäubelt, so viel das war. Das ist nicht das Ende, Baby, das ist der Start, ja.
I felt the need to control some of that resonant frequencies even more. As my vocal bus compressor, I'm using the UAD 2A version of the LA2A.
Die Vision ist klar, Baby, oh. Und was ich hier mache, ist vielleicht nicht so gesund. Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen.
Just kissing it. I'm not doing that much gain reduction, mostly for the color, probably 2 dB of gain reduction on the hook. Another suit 2, this one is a lifesaver, just dealing with some of that harshness. Inflator, I felt that I lost a lot of the body, a lot of the power of the vocals. And sometimes this is a trick that I use with Oxford Inflator. I bring down the curve really low. That means that I'm affecting mostly frequencies in the low end, and I have the effect at 100%. Let me show you how that sounds without it.
Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt. Doch es ist Money on my mind, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen Marathon, denn ich weiß, wo ich hin will.
And this is with it.
Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt. Doch es ist Money und man meint, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen Marathon, denn ich weiß, wo ich hin will. Keine Liebe mehr in dieser Welt, ich seh nur Business.
The vocals come a bit more upfront and it's adding a really nice body to the vocals. Last in the chain, RX8, the click. We have some mouth clicks, we have some compression artifacts. I like to take care of those with the RX the click. I will output the clicks only just to showcase what I'm removing. This plugin helps a lot with how smooth the vocals sound. I don't like clicks, I don't like that sort of smack. It's just not my cup of tea. That's it for the vocal bus processing. On the send bus I have Suit 2 with the same settings that I have on the vocals, but I have a much slower release. It's controlling all the reverbs, all the delays in the session.
Ich recorde, vielleicht sollte ich lieber chillen jetzt.
As you can see, the low end gets really tucked in, also increasing the stereo field just a touch. I felt that all the effects created a top end that I didn't care that much about. What else do we have in this session? I think this is all that I had. Let's engage this one, the magic.
Ich recorde, doch es ist Money und man meint, ich hole Big Checks. Laufe diesen
Other things that I did in the session, I did some automation on the gain. I did some cutting on the beat. That's something that I like to add, and I always think about how I can improve the arrangement, even just for a bit. For example, in this case, I think I've made a really nice transition from the verse to the last hook.
Ich hab viel zu tun. Worke so hart, dass ich mir die Checks verdien. Alles viel zu Stoney, doch mein Blick ist glasklar. Hier vorne ist es Lonely Racer auf der Fahrbahn. Sinne sind betäubt, weil zu viel in meinem Glas war. Ich komme an die...
That's it for the mix breakdown. I did tons of other small things in the session, but this is the gist of it. So this was the Stoney mix breakdown. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment below. Thanks for the support. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and see you guys really, really soon. Cheers.